All right, now it's a cold open. I'm determined to have a cold open, even without editing. All right, welcome to the show. This is a new podcast we're doing because I had an idea when I found out that my friend Ben here, say hi.
Hello.
That's not hi. Has chronicled every movie he's watched since lockdown started. And he, more importantly, ranked them all. Which means he has opinions, and on the internet, opinions are wrong.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine are right, though. So.
Yes.
That's what we're here to find out. Yeah. He has a list of 100 movies in order of best to even better. Because it's not best to worst. You've not only seen 100 movies, but you've ranked them, and these are the top 100 movies. And that's what we're going to discuss here. Ben's 100th best movie.
Which is?
28 Days Later.
Good.
I almost forgot the title there.
This is a podcast, so people can't see I did a massive gesture.
Yeah.
Can you just say?
I mean, controversially, it was number 100 was The Lion King. Up until very recently when...
Did it go up or down?
Oh, I booted The Lion King out. I had to.
Wait, CGI or
hand
GI?
Hand original Lion King. I had to boot out The Lion King.
To be honest, it's not that great.
I think it's a solid 9 out of 10.
But that's not what we're here to discuss
Yeah,
today.
but it's not a top 100.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Stuart to argue.
I did not cry when Mufasa died.
Yeah, to be fair, he dies like a bitch.
Yeah.
Nah, he dies sadly. It's just... Maybe I should have seen it when I was 5.
I much prefer The Lion King 3, which is The Lion King again, just focusing on Timber
Is that the
and
one
Pumbaa.
where the new Simba character's a girl?
No.
Because I know one of them, the kid is a girl.
That's Lion King 2.
Is that 2? Okay.
No,
that, when I was a child, I watched in school on a rainy day, because we watched movies when we came out to break, and I thought that was The Lion King.
Oh.
So I was very confused by what was going on in The Lion King CGI 24 years later.
Oh, so you'd never even watched...
No, I never watched it grow up. I mean, I'd seen enough bits of it to know everything. In that same way that I kind of knew Star Wars. I didn't see Star Wars till I was 20.
Yeah, but you know the story through osmosis and just through media driplets.
Yeah, and clips and people talking about it.
Yeah.
And every time I see, actual lions die, I'm like, oh, I like the movie, right?
Yeah, that's you and every kid that grew up in the 90s.
Yes, watching lions die.
Although way more lions died in The Lion King 2 than in 1.
Probably.
Yeah. There was that
I think,
bit at the
does
end.
one die in the first one? Because they'll win in the first one, but still Mufasa dies.
No, 2. 2 die in the first one.
Okay, right. On to the next bit of the podcast, because Stuart's gesturing at me. How are we all doing? This was going to be a bit where I'm like, okay, what movies have you seen this week?
Oh, I mean, I did see The Adam Project, so...
When did you rank that? Is that into the 100?
Hell no.
Is that the one where they give people drugs so that they can live in space and the guy gets in a swimming pool for some reason?
No, it's the one where Ryan Reynolds is a futuristic time pilot and goes back and meets himself.
I have no idea what movie I'm thinking
It's
of.
a fairly new one.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's like a 7 out of 10. It's really fun.
Yeah, cool.
I've been busy watching Star Wars Kenobi. That came out. So far, it's fine. Just like all Star Wars stuff. I don't know if anyone outside of a Star Wars fan could watch something like that.
All I know is the school shooting shit from Twitter.
I've also watched the first 3 episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
And which, quickly I'll just say, it's a step in the right direction. It's a Star Trek show that actually features Trek.
Yes.
Not some...
They do a lot of walking?
No,
they do a lot of exploring and something.
Exploration and actual episodic adventures. No one big
because we
arc.
both watched Orville recently.
Yeah.
Which has that background arc thing that they do, like in the
Yeah.
Daleks in Doctor Who thing that people like in sci-fi.
Yeah.
Where stuff builds up and then they come back at the end and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, you got recurring themes and characters, but it's not all one big story. You're allowed to have other things going on.
Because I like the trekking in that. Because in Orville, you know that episode where they find the planet which has the star signs?
Yes.
I love that episode.
Yeah.
For exactly one reason, which is that they get a planet going, is anyone out there signal, just by chance. And everyone is ecstatic.
Yeah.
It's great. You're just like a science vessel, and that's exactly the thing you'd want.
Yeah. It's... Orville has been... I mean, we'll see how Strange New Worlds goes, but Orville has created truer Star Trek than Star Trek has.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they took it and refined it and added dick jokes.
Yeah, and you know what? 21st century audiences, we need dick jokes.
Yeah. Star Guy or Family Trek.
Yeah, Family Trek.
Yeah.
But you've been
A
watching...
Million Ways to Die in the Space.
Yeah, and you've been watching Orville.
That was a while ago. Most recently, I have watched Ex Machina and Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I've been wanting to talk about Ex Machina, even though I don't have that much to say that I haven't already said to you guys. Like, just the ending was ruined by all of the setup that the house is just obviously a fucking death trap in the middle of nowhere, and the guy just lives alone with robots that hate him, as if he's never seen a sci-fi or movie in his life.
Well, it's an interesting thing, though.
Like, one of them just has free reign of the house and knives, and he's like, as long as we can dance, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, it could be set in a universe. So, like, The Walking Dead is set in a universe where zombie movies don't exist.
Yeah,
that's why they don't call them zombies. So he sets in a universe where killer robot movies never exist.
He's like, I've never seen iRobot. Who's Will Smith?
Yeah, I've never seen Terminator.
Yeah. Or 30 other movies.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I worked for sort of fake Facebook Google. Or he owned it, I think. But yeah. Oh man, I want to talk about Ex Machina now. It's
Next
way better
time.
than 28 Days Later. Where is it on your list?
It is actually on the list. So Ex Machina is number 62.
Nice.
So we've got 40 movies time. We'll get there, unless Everywhere All at Once has knocked everything up a notch.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I mean, the more top 10 movies you watch, the faster we get to ones in the meantime, and the more we miss because they just jump past us.
Yeah.
I don't quite know how that's going to work.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but Ben's list is changing all the time. Hollywood are pumping out movies every fucking weekend.
And they're all tens.
They're all 10s.
Every single
Single one
movie.
of them.
Name a single movie that came out this year that wasn't a 10 out of 10.
Morbius.
See? Oh, fuck. I was kind of hoping I could say see before
Yeah.
the pause ended.
Yeah. But, so,
Oh,
back
Morbius
to
was great.
to Ben's number 100.
Yes.
28 Days Later. Hit us with a synopsis, Matt.
Yes. Hailed as the most frightening film since The Exorcist. Which I took Stuart to see The Exorcist. And he spent most of that movie with a thumb in each ear and his fingers ready to jump in front of his eyes because he was terrified. Like,
That movie, The Exorcist, knew how to build suspense. And it
It
built
does.
constantly. In the immortal words of Barney Stinson, it is a playlist that just rises.
yeah.
It
In the
doesn't
immortal
come
words
down.
of Mark Kermode, it's a horror movie so good that it convinces you God exists.
Thank you. I've been watching a lot of How I Met Your Mother, that's why
Yeah.
it's fresh in my head.
Oh, yeah.
So, better or worse than The Exorcist? That's what we're here to discuss today. So,
Is The Exorcist on your list?
I have not seen
Seen
The
it.
Exorcist.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, that's going to be number one pretty soon.
Alright, so
Yeah.
before we rewatched it today, why was 28 Days Later your 100? Why was it on the list?
I think because it's quite different. It's got a unique premise. For the time,
Yeah,
you've got to
that's
watch it in the context.
For the time, yes.
Context of the time.
Yeah.
It's really the only kind of well-made, proper, it takes itself seriously British zombie film. Because you've got Shaun of the Dead, but that's more of a comedy than anything else.
Carry on zombing.
I'd love if that was a
It
thing.
doesn't exist.
I would love if that
There
was
is
a
a
thing.
horror. There's a horror version of. There's a vampire Carry On movie, I think, called like Carry On Sucking or something. It's not that. And I watched that at a film society at uni, and when it ended, someone was like, "Well, the real scary thing was gender politics in the 70s." And you can tell it was a uni, can't you? Stuart, speak.
I have a fun fact, which it basically relates to your reason for liking it so much, for it being different for the time. The time being 2002.
The time is going to come up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah. But Alex Garland and Danny Boyle felt the notion of living dead wanting to eat people's brains was outdated, and he was absolutely right. Because this was the first, as far as I can remember at least, 28 Days Later, this is the first zombie movie to have berserker zombies running. Before then it was, they were undead, eat your brains. It was magical or mythical or something going on. This is the first time where it's purely based in science and reality-ish, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, I would say another reason I like it so much is because it knows what to focus on. It kind of teases what's going on in the outside world, like outside of Britain, but doesn't give us too many details, so it keeps that interesting, but it's not the focal point of the film.
Yes, because they
And
never quite answer the mystery of whether we're quarantined until the very end.
No, and I love that. I love that because it's not the focus of the film. The focus of the film is its characters. I like that, spoilers, the biggest kind of set piece in the film is them blowing up a small petrol station. And that's it.
Yeah, that's 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
I have a fun fact about that petrol station. So they had permission to blow it up. It was a petrol station in Canary Wharf. However, the local authorities were not alerted to the fact. They blew up that petrol station, and the police showed up, and they had to pay 25,000.
25 grand?
No, a bit more than that. 1 second.
25,000.
A policeman turned up and said, "Here, you've blown up a petrol station without permission. Put £25,000 into this briefcase and everything will be fine."
No, okay, I've got the full fact here. Okay, the crew filed all the necessary paperwork to blow up the Canary Wharf petrol station, but the police were not notified. The explosions were detonated, and the police set fire to bridges. Wait.
The police set fire to bridges. Damn. Poor Jeff Bridges.
Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase. Sorry. Yeah, dyslexic brain. The police sent the fire brigade. I can't read for shit. That's why I watch movies all day.
Oh shit! A petrol station blown up.
Burn down the bridges.
No, and also I think this is 2002. 9/11 is still pretty fucking fresh.
Yeah,
like, not
it's Canary Wharf. They're like, oh no, someone's 9/11 the gherkin.
Oh, but yeah, that's a pretty big oversight. I guess back at pre 9/11, yeah, you just blow any old shit up and the police won't care. Yeah. Post 9/11, oh yeah, you gotta make sure you tell the authorities at the very least.
All right. Speaking of the year, we have to share this deal. When we were watching the movie, we kept just naming other movies and shows it looks like.
Yeah.
Because it's the most 2002 looking thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like Hustle. No, 2002 British thing. It looks like Hustle. It looks like IT Crowd whenever they're outside. It looks like fucking Diaries of a Call Girl, where it has that bloom on everything. It keeps showing tower blocks.
Yeah, it looks like Torchwood. It has that weird glossiness that was just... It's just really cheap looking effect. That
they put the bloom on stuff, which... Was it to make the fact they're shooting on tape look less shit?
I think so, because, this looks like a TV movie. But
I would say, like, that bloom effect is... around 2009 we started getting that weird grain over everything. Like, in films.
Yes, yeah.
Like, if you guys ever seen Terminator Salvation, where they just put, like, weird grain over every shot. It's not like it's been shot on film, it's just that they had the effect.
Fake film grain.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like bloom was pre-grain. That was, like, the thing to, like, that weird pre-grain effect.
So I assume it was about when, like, digital cameras were getting good but still looked weird?
Yeah.
It was 2007. I remember distinctly it was... oh, fuck. What's the one after Casino Royale?
Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace. That's
Casino Royale with cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. Casino Royale with cheese. Quantum of Solace. I noticed it aggressively with that movie. And back when Michael Bay movies really doubled down on turning orange. Around 2007 time, it's this cheap ass effect that just lingered for a bit, but thankfully they've mellowed out.
Like the late 2000s in general, everything looked a different kind of shit, and I feel like in 2030 we're going to be like, damn, those 2010s. Why was everything orange in a sandstorm?
I think the thing that
what looks like shit now? What are we going to realise looks like shit in 10 years?
I think the
all of Marvel.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything in Marvel, like every action scene in Marvel, is on an overcast day. I've now ruined Marvel movies for you.
I will say as well, I don't know, CGI at the minute, you get really good CGI, but you also get CGI that you can tell it's fake, you can tell it's quite weightless.
But it looks a bit too real to...
Yeah, you can't call it out because it's like, oh, it's CGI, but it's still pretty unconvincing. I think the thing that people are going to say looks shit in like 10 years' time is that, but also... weird deep fakes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, deep fakes.
I think in terms of effects in this movie, 28 Days Later, to jump back into that, there wasn't that many bad effects. I mean,
to be honest, I don't think there was much CGI.
There wasn't. No. There was only thing that could be argued that has CGI is when we have that shot of Manchester burning, but it wasn't really a shot of Manchester burning. It was just a cloud.
That was a shot of Manchester with some grey smoke.
Which they took way too long to rise to.
Wobbly panning upwards.
I think in the drawing board they had an idea. They thought we'd get this great shot of the landscape, it'll be burning. But then they're like, yeah, we're out of money. So,
or they were like, man, smoke simulations. It's only just been 9/11. It's 2000.
okay, I'm going to bring up 9/11
I
one
didn't
more
mean to
time.
bring up 9/11 there. I was just trying to reference the time.
I'm going
Yeah.
to bring up 9/11 one more time.
God,
There is a fact about it and stuff. So, let me know what you guys think of this. So, the scenes where Jim and Selena celebrate with Frank and Hannah, it was shot September 11, 2001. Danny Boyle said he felt extremely strange to film a celebratory scene on that day.
Yeah.
And this is the scene. I thought they meant the scenes where the Jets show up and they have the hello
Oh,
signs.
they're in the farmhouse.
Yeah, the house where they have the green gin, whatever it was.
Oh,
And
when they're in the flat.
Yeah, that's why
That
I'm like,
scene is on. So they were in a tower block on 9/11 celebrating.
yeah.
Fuck.
Oh.
So-
That must
okay.
have been fun.
Okay, now it's hitting me.
Honestly, that whole scene was weird. What the fuck was the creme de menthe?
I think honestly they were just drinking toothpaste. It was
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
It was green.
It did look like mouthwash.
You know, I thought, oh, a bit of drop of brandy, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do like how no one really gave a shit that they gave a teenager alcohol, because like you wouldn't at that point.
No.
And then they give her Valium so she can get ready. Should we do the actual synopsis?
You did the synopsis.
Yeah, we did.
No, we did the intro
prime
where it says
synopsis.
it.
Yeah.
We literally just did the line where it says it's scarier than The Exorcist.
the synopsis is basically in the title. It's 28 days after a zombie apocalypse.
Well, we should do a bit more premise than that.
Oh, the main character has a penis.
Yes, main character wakes up from a coma. No, wait. See, this is the thing. I've forgotten so much of the movie. It starts with activists raiding a chimpanzee disease testing thing in Cambridge or Oxford. I can't remember which. Let's say Oxbridge. And that releases the disease very easily that no one knows exists, but it's being tested. And then 28 days later, he wakes up from a coma and finds out London is empty, which that bit looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like, that was like being in COVID, where you go to London and everything's empty.
Yeah.
It's like everyone can now relate to that.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of those shots were, in fact, real shots of it was just empty-ass London at fuck off o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The scenes when they're driving on the motorway and there's no cars there. 7 a.m. Till 9 a.m. they were on the M1.
I suppose you could get the empty motorways, you just go early.
Yeah.
You could get an occasional car and just wait for it to go.
Yeah. And I guess if there was any of that sound, they can just mute out the sound. Let's get into world building, shall we?
Yes. There's a world, it's built.
Yes. Well, actually, it's unbuilt. The thing I loved about it is the early shots of Cillian Murphy walking through, and it's just nothing. And, you know, you've got...
Oh yeah, you mentioned you really liked how people had dropped money, the environmental storytelling.
Yeah.
And then the environmental storytelling of everything is made of sugar. He gets out of the hospital, immediately steals some Pepsi from a Pepsi machine. And we made a joke about it being sponsored by Pepsi. And later we find out it's sponsored by every fizzy drink, plus Maltesers.
I think this movie had to scrape together as much budget as it could get.
I mean, I'm sure they weren't actually product placed. Like, someone came up with the theory, same as the fucking Twinkies in Zombieland, where they're like the only stuff that will survive is sugary, and the only stuff that's safe to drink is in a can.
Yeah.
And then they ran with it. It just means that the whole movie feels a bit like an advert for, you know, Pepsi, Malteser, Coca-Cola Co. Like, actually, yeah, there's no Coca-Cola in it.
Yeah, there is no Coca-Cola, but
Yeah,
there's
there's
loads of
Pepsi, there's Lilt,
Tango.
there's Maltesers, there's Tango. Someone gets tangoed at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Coke was too good and everyone ate it, drank it before the apocalypse.
I mean, I will say there was a massive fuck off advert for Budgeons as well. They walk in there, and Stuart said it perfectly, that it's just like the cleanest place you can imagine. Everything is immaculately stacked.
Yes.
It could be that it was an advert for Budgeons, or it could be that even during the zombie apocalypse,
no one wants to go to Budgeons.
I mean, no one was prepared to step foot in a Budgeons. They would rather die outside than go into the Budgeons.
I do love that they do the fucking, like, they're running around happy to do supermarket sweep in real life.
Yeah. It's just, this is right after they just had a chase sequence, it's all grim, and then suddenly, happy music playing, and they're all running around, supermarket sweep, and it's just tonal whiplash.
Yeah.
Is what I didn't say at the time.
Yeah.
I said
Tonal backlash.
Just nuts.
You can hear the paper on the podcast probably, but Stuart has notes and he's written quiet in huge capital letters. Yeah. What are we notes here? Going on holiday with your fucking aunt. Oh, that was a good line.
Yeah.
An
Okay.
incredibly specific insult.
Okay, yeah. In terms of writing and the way the characters talk, with the exception of the teenager, all the actors are great, and the way they speak, they feel like real fucking people.
Yeah.
Like they're umming and they're ahhing and they're just overwhelmed. Especially Cillian Murphy, bless his soul.
Yes. And he's very skinny in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we gotta talk about the teenagers acting. Like, was that intentional?
Yeah.
I can't imagine it was. I said
Because
it.
you could ask her to play something super awkward and it would look like that.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of said it during the film, which was, I think, a friend of Danny Boyle probably had a daughter who wanted to be an actress, kind of. So he said, "Oh, I've got sort of a minorish role. I can put her in this film to showcase her." And
It'll cost you 25 grand in one picture.
yeah, it was a suitcase.
We actually confirmed from X-Ray that she's otherwise been in the movie Liam.
Oh, God. I just don't think, like, he was probably too polite to tell his friend after they started shooting, your daughter is atrocious.
Yeah. Oh, we could die here. I don't know, Dad. I don't know. Are you alright? Are you alright? How many pills did you take? Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, her acting was great for being on Valium. It was just that she forgot to not be on Valium the rest of the movie.
Thing is, it's grim and it's dour and it's 2001. Well, 2002.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
go through the
imagine
whole
a worse
movie and there's
combination.
kind of action and adventure and they're getting somewhere and then you're like, oh, I get it. The real zombies were the rape culture we found along the way.
That's the thing about the story. It does kind of get from bad to hopeful to immediately worse, and you see the worst of humanity. The moment they showed up and saw those soldiers, when I first watched it ages ago, I remember thinking, what kind of soldiers are these? Matt kindly informed me that this is actually pretty typical. But I remember thinking, oh man, these aren't soldiers, they're twats. Then why are they acting like twats? And then as the film progresses and you realise, oh, they are twats. They're
Yep.
absolute twats ready to rape some women. Just,
I mean, Christopher Eccleston's acting on the bit where he's like, I promised them women is pretty intense.
Yeah.
It's a good scene for how just generally fucked up it is.
Yeah.
I can see why they made him Doctor Who.
Yeah. That warped persona that he has, because he genuinely believes that he's humanity's saviour. And that's why he's putting on the poncy British Army man accent, as opposed to his normal grafter's accent. If that makes sense.
Up to north.
Yeah, normally I'm Doctor Who, and that's absolutely fantastic. And then he's talking like in
The
the
fuck, that was not Christopher Eccleston's
No.
Doctor Who.
Normally Christopher Eccleston has a normal northern man accent, and this he sort of wavers between northern man and poncy general accent. But that's the thing, he has this high bloated opinion of himself. I genuinely have the answer to infection, and it involves sitting in our shitty fucking house eating off eggs,
Wait until they die.
waiting till they die, which, okay, fine.
I mean, the fact that, like, they only had to wait, like, 56 days.
Actually,
He didn't really need to promise them women, did he?
in the sequel,
Do they come back to life?
No.
Does the virus mutate?
No, in the sequel, that's the spoiler ahead, but it's actually revealed at the very beginning that 28 weeks.
Yep.
That's how long it takes for the zombies to all starve to death.
Oh, so that's how... So the 28 days was just how long for some of them to starve to death.
Yeah,
28 weeks is all of them.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
The sequel is enormously stupid.
Okay.
Really? I
Yeah.
disagree.
I've never seen
I
it.
don't want to go too deep into the sequel because that's a follow-up episode one day. But I remember really enjoying it.
I enjoyed it, but the minute that you start thinking about the premise and why stuff happens, it's really, really, really stupid.
Okay. That's a conversation. Again, this is one of those movies I've not watched again for like 15 years, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Just diverting for a second, I think as well, my problem with the sequel is that it kind of loses what 28 Days Later was meant to be. Whereas 28 Days Later is like focusing on a handful of characters and like the everyman kind of experience of the survivors. The sequel, again, without delving into spoilers, it kind of adopts like a Chosen One plot.
Okay.
Which, yeah, for me it just didn't work. It was just so stupid.
Okay. Let's keep it to 28 days because I feel like you've
I
got a
haven't
lot
seen
to
it.
say about
Yeah.
this movie. So we'll get back to that. put a pin in that.
Let's move on to the final segment of the podcast, because I have no idea how long we've been speaking. Ben, this is your 100th favourite movie.
It is.
My question to you is, has any of our opinions or rewatching the movie changed your mind? Do you think it should remain your 100th favourite movie?
I think so. Like, when doing the list, I kind of base it on a mixture of how much I enjoyed the film and how good I think the film is. So while I could really enjoy something, I can also admit it's not that great. This is kind of a mixture of the two.
Or you can see quality but not necessarily enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are... I think, like, looking at the films above it, I'd probably keep it where it is.
Yeah, in the way that, for example, Alien 3 is obviously, by quality and enjoyment, the best Alien movie.
You've never seen Alien, have you?
I have seen all of the Aliens.
Now, this is a trigger point, so I don't want us to diverge the Alien discussion. But
I'm baiting you.
But Ben, you would keep it at number 100.
I think I would keep it at number 100. The films above it, I think, are... I mean, these are all sort of 9 out of 10, so they're very similar in terms of quality.
Okay.
But in terms of how much I enjoy them, I think I enjoy the films above this, like, marginally more.
Okay, so you still think it's one worse than Catch Me If You Can? Our next episode?
Potentially.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's probably one worse than Catch Me
Okay.
If You Can.
Well, we'll find out in either an hour or a week, I guess.
Yeah. But, okay, for our rankings, though, me and Matt, we are going to decide where we want to put it on our leaderboard. So this is the first movie, so it's the first one we're going to put on there.
Making this the best movie of all time.
At the moment. Honestly,
Just after Alien 3.
Okay, with the assumption that we're going to put more movies on this list. So far, I would give 28 Days Later, I'd put it at rank 75.
Okay, guessing my entire top 100, I would put it not in the top 100. I think after all 100 episodes, this will be 101.
That's a fair assumption. Wow. Okay.
I'm just saying I wouldn't put it in my top 100. Like,
neither would I.
personally. For the podcast, I think this is going to end up 90.
90?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm assuming Ben's opinions are 90% correct.
Okay. Let's compromise. 85. Because it will move up, it will move down if we see worse movies, you know?
I'm going to call it 87.
87. Fine, I accept. For the record, me and Matt have shaken hands. We have pinned this movie at 87 for the time being, but that ranking will change with more movies that we review. We'll go over the list, we'll add it in there.
And eventually we will have the objectively correct ranking of the 100 best movies of all time. For example, Alien 3.